Welcome to the Real Estate 401k Show. Here are your hosts, Ryan Gerdes, Mike Weinstein, and Justin Frederick, helping you build a legacy of wealth through real estate. Powered by the Recon Group at West USA and the Frederick team with Fairway Mortgage. NMLS number 625918.
Well, welcome to the very last Real Estate 401k podcast for 2023. I think we launched this back in April. And guys, it's been a fantastic ride. I've enjoyed doing it for 2023. Looking forward to 2024. Justin, this is your last show.
It's his, mine too.
Microphone drop.
All right. Well,
Wow.
well, next time we reconvene, it will be New Year. So happy New Year's to you guys. Happy New Year's to our listeners. Again, this is the Real Estate 401k Show. I'm your host, Mike Weinstein, alongside Justin Frederick and my business partner, Ryan Gerdes. I always love when Ryan introduces me. He always introduces me as his business partner. And you look at the two of us walking down the road, it can't be anything other than a business partner relationship, bro.
You're my heterosexual life partner, buddy.
Oh boy.
So this is a continuation from a episode we did last week. We talked about interviewing your agent, questions that you need to ask, and then, of course, when we stopped, we started talking about the lending side of things. And I don't know where you guys stand. Are you, if you're hiring a new doctor or a new service or a new accountant or whatever the case is, how much do you guys pay attention to not only reviews, but just kind of doing some background information?
I mean, I when it comes to accounting, doctors, surgeons, I'm definitely reading reviews. I start off with the worst reviews, read those, and then I work my way up. And then I try to find them on, different types of websites, Yelp, Better Business Bureau. I want to see things like that. I want to see how long they've been in the business before I even waste my time going down there. And then even when I go down there, I interview them. I want to know what I'm getting into. I want to know how I feel about that professional and if I'm comfortable. So, I mean, I feel like I get pretty in depth with it.
I like finding people that are like-minded than me because I feel like there's so much noise and I'm the best. No, I'm the best. And really, like for me, what makes me the best is the people that I surround myself with.
You're welcome.
Well, thank you, buddy.
My business partner right there.
Yeah. He's the anchor of this team.
I'm the wind beneath your wings, pal.
But I for going back to the doctor, question, like I want to know how their nurses are. I want to know how their receptionist is. I want to know what systems they have in place to make sure that, whatever test stuff or pharmaceuticals or whatever, that none of that is getting messed up. I don't want to. I cannot stand it when I go to the doctors. They say, "Oh, your appointment's at 10 o'clock," and then I'm sitting in the waiting room till 10:30. To me, that's just indicative right out the gates that you don't take your business seriously.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're an attorney, doctor, whatever. I know bullshit happens. I've been late before too, but if I'm going to go, my time is just as valuable as yours, in my opinion. And so, if I'm over there waiting a half hour in the waiting room just because you feel like your position is more important than mine, then we're not going to get along well.
All right, so I want to have a discussion about what a home buyer should be asking their lender, what type of research that they should be doing to make sure that their lender is experienced enough, going to put them in the best position possible to close on a piece of real estate. And Ryan, our industry is very, very unique. Most of the time, our investors, our buyers come to us and ask for recommendations of who they should talk to as far as getting a mortgage. And of course, we always refer them over to Justin Frederick and his team at Fairway Independent Mortgage. And I don't know what percentage of buyers are finding their lenders online and so forth. But the problem that happens oftentimes is the client is not even doing their due diligence and the research on the agent that they've hired. They don't know the experience level of that agent. And then basically depending on the recommendation of that agent. What should people be looking at when selecting the right lender for their loan?
I would say consider the source. So if you're getting a referral from your best friend, okay, they might be your best friend, and they might, take a bat to somebody or take, or whatever for you. But is that really what you are you the same type of consumer as your best friend? And chances are that it's usually not the case, right? And so I gotta make sure that the person that I'm getting referrals from, that their priorities and their principles and practices are in line with me. So for me, when it comes to real estate, it all comes down to building wealth in real estate. If my best friend, they're more important. What's more important for them is that they can go over there and show them how pretty this house is or whatever. Then I'm just not really there, right? So I want somebody that's going to be able to break down the financials for me, help me put together a game plan that's going to work with my model, and then be able to strategically move forward from there. But not a lot of people look at real estate the way that you and I look at it. Sure. So I tread cautiously on referrals, and so those are the types of conversations that I want to have before I'm going to hitch my wagon to anybody for that matter.
Well, we'd love to give you the opportunity to interview Justin and his team. All you got to do is text the word lender to 623-AZ-RECON. That's lender to 623-AZ-RECON. And what I would add to that, I have purchased a couple homes this year and looking to add a couple more in 2024. And Justin and his team are my personal go-to when it comes down to getting financing. Justin, what should a buyer be asking you?
So I would start off by going to NMLS Consumer Access. And the reason why I say that is it gives you the history of us being in the business. It lets you know how long we've actually been there. So keep that information to yourself before you ask that from the lender, because a lot of times you'll get a different answer than what you see on Consumer Access. But it also show you if there's been any complaints on them. Now, unfortunately, on our line of work, majority of what we learn is on-the-job training. So if you're interviewing somebody that may have only been in the business for 2 years, most likely, this doesn't happen in all cases, but most likely they're not going to be able to give you the knowledge or products that somebody has been in the business for quite some time. Meaning, like, I would say that I felt like I had a real good comfort level within the business after 5 years of being a lender.
Well, but you worked under a mentor with a big, with a lot of different support there that gave you that experience and that timeline, right?
Yeah, I think that's important because...
And I dealt with a lot of volume in that period of time. And the volume helped me because I was going through it. But, it's not as easy as you would think because every transaction is different. There's very few that are very similar to each other because the consumers are different, the homes are different, the agents are different, so the contracts are different. So there's all kinds of things that you have to know how to work with: title companies, appraisers, your realtors, your wealth managers. Banks, because you got to know how to get through bank statements and how to advise somebody on how to get something else you may need from a transaction within the bank. Tax returns, CPAs. I mean, there's attorneys for divorces, marriages, things like that. Family members, gifts. There's a lot that goes into it, but I would start with the NMLS Consumer Access. Look up your loan officer there. Then read reviews. I would say 90% of the lenders out there have reviews on each one of them, and the companies make them have this, and we can't remove anything from it. Read Google reviews, Zillow reviews, Yelp, things like that, and filter through them. Read what people say about them. Ask ask the agent, why are you recommending this loan officer to me?
Oh, that's a good one. So I think where the problem lies, well, there's two problems. One is a lot of times that the loan officer is a referral recommendation from the agent. The second thing, I think sometimes buyers are so narrow focused and the only thing that they see is the interest rate. And so over here said they're going to give me this interest rate. So over there is going to give me this interest rate. And they don't necessarily understand that there's a lot of fine print. And just because you see a rate that is lower doesn't necessarily mean that it is the better deal. But for me, the top three questions I would ask a lender. Number one, how long have you been doing this and how many loans have you closed? I want to know that. Two, give me a recent scenario, a recent challenging scenario, and tell me the story of how you overcame that. And then the third one is, and I think to Ryan's point, I want to know what your team looks like. I don't know how many times in the past I have worked with solo loan officers that don't have a team around them, and they are just a one-person show, and it creates so many problems because so many things slip through the cracks. Am I missing something, Ryan?
Well, so a very wise person told me that price is only an issue in the absence of value. And that really rang true for me. And so whether it's my lender or whoever that I'm working with, I mean, in this instance, we're talking about you, I would want to know what those pillars of value are, right? Because here's the issue with how consumers consume. When a deal goes perfect and it's flawless, seamless, everyone closed on time, there's no hiccups or anything like that, they just walk away and say, all right, yeah, that was good. Maybe I'll jump on Google and say, hey, Justin and his team are awesome. Fantastic, right? But I want to know how you guys behave when the shit hits the fan.
Yeah.
I want to know if you guys are running from the fire or you're running towards it, right? And what is the value that you and your team bring to this transaction that's going to make it that we're going to create a lifelong partnership? Because I'm not looking for one and done. I'm looking to build value. So that's really what I try to dive into.
Well, I think a lot of consumers out there that approach a home loan, because it's not every day that you do a home loan, or a lot of people don't even do it every 5 years. So I think what a lot of people don't understand is it's not like getting a car loan. It doesn't feel like it should be a lot of back end paperwork and things like that. But really, when it comes down to it, I feel like we're kind of the driver of the transaction other than you guys. I mean, obviously we listen to you guys on what needs to be done, but I feel like we kind of bring everything together and make it work, unless there's cash involved. Then the title company's more bringing everything together. But we have to have a lot of knowledge on how these transactions work and how to bring it together. And just like you were saying, if there's red flags within files, how do you deal with those red flags? What's your experience with those red flags? How are we going to get through this? So what we like to do as a team is if we find a problem, we like to come up with multiple solutions to bring to the table before we say there's a problem. But we definitely address that problem as a priority compared to anything else. We drop everything because we like to sleep at night, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when we find a problem, we're looking for solutions and different ways around it. Now, typically, we're trying to find all of those problems before we even issue a pre-qualification, just so everybody knows what we're getting into. Whereas I feel like a lot of people are issuing that pre-qualification and wanting to deal with everything on the back end of things, which is the worst stress ever. And yes, I did that early on as a loan officer, and I miss nights of sleep, and we don't do that anymore.
Well, the three things that I love most about working with Justin and his team, and number one, this is the other question. I can't even believe I haven't thought about it. The first question that should come out of your mouth when you're interviewing a loan officer: do you work evenings and weekends? Will you, or is there somebody on your team that is going to pick up the phone on a Saturday when I'm getting ready to submit an offer? Number two, I've never gone to bed without getting updates from Justin and his team when challenges are presenting themselves. And then third, there is nothing like watching this man hit a golf ball 350 yards, 3 streets over from the fairway.
I knew that was coming.
Bro, no, we're on this hole right here. How did
I just
you do
wanted
that?
to blast
We'll
it.
pick that up when we get in the car.
If this was a baseball field.
Well, we'd love to give you the opportunity to chat with Justin and his team. Even if you are sitting on a pre-qualification form from another lender, I can't implore you enough of the importance to get that second opinion, and the consultation is free. All you got to do is text the word lender to 623-AZ-RECON. That's lender to 623-AZ-RECON.
Thank you for joining us on the Real Estate 401k Show. If you want more information on how to build wealth, click on the link or text us at 623-297-3266. That's 623-AZ-RECON.